What is good, you guys? Your boy Frost here, and today I'm going to be answering your question on can you play, I guess, Destiny? Not really play, but can you really enjoy your experience, or more or less, can you hop back into or go back to free to play on Destiny 2020? Not really go to free to play, but more or less, can you still have the same experience of having fun on Destiny? In a free to play like section of a player. So I'm going to be answering this from me firsthand. I would say one, I've taken a very long break from Destiny 2. I used to have Shadowkeep and Forsaken until I lost my second account. So I can't get that account back. It's somehow locked, so I can get back into it. So I am now free to play until the new DLC comes out, which is Beyond Light. And I'm going to be telling you guys on what you can do to more or less get away from that wall of I can't improve slash I can't get better equipment slash you can eliminate this sort of RNG and just more or less eliminate the thought of you not being able to get high tier loot, because it is truly possible. It's just the grind. Destiny 2, you have to be aware that Destiny 2 is a grinding game, and I'm not saying you have to devote your whole life into the game, but I am going to say that it takes about 4 to 6 hours of grind time for you to get the things that you want in the game. Now, if you're a free-to-play player and maybe you want to get into Destiny, I'll also be telling you guys some things on where you can start off from to get sort of those new, not really new weapons, but sort of those weapons that you can use in Crucible to get you, like, just get you a little edge instead of using maybe a rare or some random legendary that you're probably uncomfortable with. Something more or less your taste, or hopefully something that'll pop up into your inventory that's more of your taste. So, for starters, the first thing that you want to do if you're sort of starting out, or if you're going to free to play, and if you're starting off right now in Destiny, you're hopping right back into the game, or more or less, you're just now dropping into the game, is start doing your seasonal quests. This is something that is highly requested, not really highly requested, but this is something that I highly request that you should do, because not only are you getting through your whole seasonal quest and you're getting all the loot drops that they give you weekly whenever a new season does start, you're also getting a bunch of legendaries, as well as for the final quest. Whenever you get done with that, you're at Fhrxst exotic. So your Fhrxst exotic will be a sidearm. I forgot the name of it because I got rid of it. It's it's pretty good, but if you're good with sidearms, or if you feel like you're pretty good with pistols, then that's more of your taste. I don't really like sidearms, but I really do need to get into them, so I discarded it. It's just in my collections. So do your seasonals, make sure you get through all of them, and it does take a long time. It took me almost a full day since I did it solo, and I didn't really have any help, let alone I kind of just wanted to play solo. So it does take a very long time, but it is indeed worth it in the end, in the long run. The second thing you want to do whenever you do start playing Destiny is feel free to play Crucible. Whenever you're playing Crucible, whenever you're playing modes that don't, rely on level advantages or unlevel capped, or I mean, well, not really level capped, but more or less just there's no level advantages. As you push through, you can play through the Valor ranks, and you don't go down Valor ranks, so you can just keep playing. And win or lose, you're always gonna keep going up ranks. And every time you Valor rank, you do get a Crucible set item. It could be a weapon, an armor, a bond. Hell, it can even be luckily an exotic. What you're seeing in the background is me using the Cirrus regime, which I not only one got from playing Crucible, but as well getting a masterwork by just continuing to play Crucible. So I highly do suggest you play the PvP mode. It can be pretty intimidating and pretty hard at first, but once you get into Destiny and knowing what your playstyle is going to be like, and how you're going to be able to play, then that's what you're going to be, set in stone for. And also, if you do feel like venturing into like the more or less the competitive side, you can also do that too as well. But I highly recommend it whenever you're more or less just, I would say, I'd highly recommend you do that whenever you have a good gear set. Not much like a good gear set, but weapons that you're comfortable with, and maybe a gear set that you know you're running with, um, that you know can adapt to your playstyle. So another thing that I want to talk about is the menagerie. I do also request that you do the menagerie because uh, for that you can also matchmake. So you do, maybe you're playing solo, don't have any friends online with you to help, or maybe they're busy. You can also matchmake into menagerie. And basically, how the menagerie goes is you're going into these gauntlets where Callus gives you a set amount of tasks for you to do, and it's more or less just set in stone, just laid out for you. But it's not as simple as you think. Uh, Whenever you start doing the menagerie, Callus does start to make the enemies a lot more harder. It is a at 750 light level, but I highly suggest you don't do it at 750 light level because Callus will eventually, if there's any higher tier guardians inside of Menagerie, they're probably going to level it up, or Callus himself will just make sure that the enemies are much more harder, so that way your loot is much more bountiful. So I was request doing that around whenever you hit like the 1K mark or the 900 mark. That way you can get the best out of your loot. And as well as whenever you do menagerie, you can use these runes that you can be able to select, or be able to get a loot chance of what you want. Like you could be able to get a certain armor type from these runes, or a certain SMGs or SMG rolls, or anything that's more or less out of the side of for those runes. So another thing that I also suggest, and I know I'm suggesting a lot, but it's definitely going to be beneficial for you, and this is the blind well. A lot of people don't really know or don't really care about doing the blind well, but believe it or not, doing the blind well, um, not really repeatedly, but if you're more or less coming in weekly or more or less daily, you can have some serious good chance of getting some good drops. And whenever you go into the blind well, what you do at first is you go in and you survive about 4 rounds of just shooting enemies into the area of light, and around after a round 5 you'll be sent to fight two, I guess, ogres. And the only way you can kill those ogres is if you kill one of the takens that are glowing, which has harmony, and what you need the harmony for is to damage the ogres. And after that, you'll have to fight the main ogre if someone starts a heroic event or having an unstable charge of light. They can charge that and then get the heroic event going, which is the heroic ogre. And the best way how to do that is to kill also different sets of other ogres, which also drops relics. And you take those relics and you throw it at the main ogre, which makes his shield go away, and you'll be able to kill them and then be able to get your loot that way. It sounds simple, but trust me, it's not. If your team is not coordinated, or the people that you're playing with randomly isn't coordinated enough to realize that these relics are being laid out, or harmonies are not using the harmony to its full extent, they will probably not be able to finish it off, and you'll just be just be there with Baron, if not base tier loot. So it's not ideal. That's not an ideal thing to hopefully happen to you. Hopefully those people do tier 3, so you can even do tier 3 to 2 1s. That way you can get some good loot. But as far as that goes, blind well is pretty good. Um, I also suggest doing strikes. Do some of your quests that they already give out to you. Do your tower quests. I recommend doing those. Go out, do bounties as well, weekly and daily bounties, because these can secure you a lot of materials, which you can use to get legendary engrams. Um, if you take all that I'm saying in consideration here, you probably in a day could get from 750 to, I guess, 960 or 950. At the second day you can get to 1K, or if not much more farther. And then around that time it's more or less a loot shoot, And if you can, make yourself another character, and then if you do that, you can farm up your second character, and your second character will actually be much more higher than your first character. It kind of just depends on how you play the game, but just put into consideration that Destiny 2 is a really, really grindy game that you're just going to have to get accustomed to if you really want to enjoy the game to its fullest extent. Um, Maybe you guys don't enjoy that type of grind, or maybe that it just doesn't just really hit that nail in the coffin for you. Which is why I suggest you play with friends or play with a couple of people to help you out. Play Crucible or play dungeons. You know, eventually you guys will get that higher loot. It's just all about the grind. It's never going to just be randomly handed to you. It's just never gonna be that way. Destiny's never gonna like, it was never like that, and it never can be. So I thank you guys for watching this video. I know it's much more out of the random, and you're just like sitting there like, oh, Frost, I didn't know you're hopping into Destiny, or let alone Frost, oh, why are you playing this dog shit game? I mean, at one point I was really grinding this game, and then I sort of stopped around whenever Shadowkeep was out, and I said about around the end of Forsaken, I was really not really having it with Destiny because the meta was pretty ass. A lot of people stopped it for the meta, but right now I don't think the meta is pretty bad, as far as just a couple of linear fusion rifles and I guess a little bit of auto rifling. But other than that, I think Destiny 2 right now is pretty fine for what it is, and it helps you get prepared for the new upcoming DLC that's coming out. That's going to be a lot more interesting, and I have to see what they have to offer for the game. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If any of these tips have helped you, or maybe I might have left out on something, please let me know in the comments. I don't really know a lot much about Destiny 2, but doing these things that I just told you just now got me to the light level I'm at, and not in this gameplay, but I will tell you my light level right now is 1020, and I hope to really raise that bar pretty soon in the long run. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment, leave a like if you want, or feel free to leave a dislike if you feel like there's something that I've said that's wrong and you don't agree with, or maybe I'm just annoying, or maybe I'll drag this video out too long. But yeah, see you guys, and as always,